Good Tuesday morning, everybody. Our topic from today.refrainmedia.com's daily devotion today is community is about managing conflict. And our Bible reading from the English Standard Version of the Bible today is Matthew chapter 18, verses 15 through 20, which read, If your brother sins against you, go and tell him his fault between you and him alone. If he listens to you, you have gained your brother. But if he does not listen, take one or two others along with you, that every charge may be established by evidence of two or three witnesses. If he refuses to listen, then tell it to the church. And if he refuses to listen even to the church, let him be to you as a Gentile and a tax collector. Truly I say to you, whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth, shall be loosened in heaven. Again I say to you, if two of you agree on earth about anything they ask, it will be done for them by my Father in heaven. For where two or three are gathered in my name, there am I among them. Alan's dog had a habit of barking when the family was away. Of course, they didn't know it because they weren't there. They found out when the police showed up at their door saying that a neighbor had complained. Alan was shocked and a bit hurt. He was sorry that his dog was causing an annoyance in his neighborhood, but he was also upset that his neighbor hadn't just talked to him directly instead of calling the police. He went to talk to his neighbor and explained why he would have appreciated the direct contact and that he was sorry for the noise the dog was making, and his neighbor understood and even appreciated the conversation. Our text from Matthew 18 has been a foundational principle of dealing with conflict. If you have a problem with somebody, go and talk to them about it first before including other people. That seems pretty basic, but it's also a foundational principle in community. Making a public complaint or using gossip or backstabbing will bring about mistrust and break community. On the other hand, directly addressing issues in a spirit of godly wisdom and love is a positive way of dealing with conflict. Conflicts will arise. Managing them directly and in a timely way is an important part of community. Is there anyone with whom you need to discuss a conflict? Dealing with that has the potential to make your community even stronger. Let's pray. Father, help us deal with conflicts wisely and bring us into stronger relationships as a result. Amen. Very, very, very simple instructions. If you have a problem with somebody, take it to that person. Unfortunately, that's really not the way things work in our society anymore for the most part. In today's world, when somebody has an issue with somebody, the first thing they usually do is they post it on Facebook. If they're really nice, they won't post the person's name, but in a lot of cases, they'll just flat out, I have this problem with this person. And probably the vast majority of the time, it's just a simple misunderstanding, or the conflict was actually based on a rumor that the person that you're angry about doesn't even have a clue what was going on. And that's unfortunately the power of social media, and also a direct result of not following the biblical way of conflict resolution. It works. It worked in the time when Jesus spoke those words. It works today. If you have a problem with somebody, go to that person first. Go to that person first. Do not go to somebody else and ask their opinion. Go to the person you have the conflict with. Now, if you two can't resolve it, that's when 2 and 3 people are brought in. The church is brought in. The community is brought in. But the original conflict should always be a private matter between you and the person you're having the conflict with. On a side note, a lot of people use this last verse, verse 20, where it says, where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there I am among them. They use that as the basis for not going to church, actually. They use that as, well, I don't need to go to church. The Bible even says, where two or three gather by name, I'm among them. So I can just, as long as I am in a room with another believer, and that other believer can be my spouse or can be my child, then, we're having, Christian community. Well, no, you're not. Um, you know, and the people that say, well, I worship in my own way, I don't need to go to church. Well, the Bible clearly says that you need to gather with like-minded believers. It doesn't necessarily say the words you need to go to church, but I think it's heavily implied. But I think if you're not in community with fellow believers discussing the Bible, discussing your trials and your tribulations and your triumphs, I think that's a road that doesn't end well. During these past few weeks of most churches in the country, um, and gathering places in general being closed per governor's orders, it's been difficult for a lot of Christians to deal with not having that community. A lot of people say, well, I can see my church service online. Yes, you can. You can. Most churches, if your church doesn't, there's plenty of churches that do have online services you can watch. Absolutely. But you're just watching a service. You're not participating in the community of Jesus Christ. You have to be face to face with brothers and sisters in Christ to be part of that community. So take the time, take whatever precautions you deem are necessary in light of this situation. And I know it goes from the extremes of the people who say that you don't need a mask at all, to those who say you need to wear masks and gloves and head coverings and wash your hands every 30 seconds. So there's opinions across the entire spectrum. Wherever you fall in that spectrum, take those precautions. Go have community. Go have fellowship with fellow believers. And it'll do your heart good. And more importantly, it'll do their heart good to have you being part of their lives. So thanks for watching. As always, praise reports, prayer requests, or just need someone to talk to or someone to vent to. Our contact email and phone number in the description below, 100% confidential. Thank you guys. We love you, and we'll see you again tomorrow morning.